Hello and welcome to the tutorial on Illustrator for beginners who have never used it before. Follow along step by step with me so that you can get the experience. Start by, in Illustrator, going to File, New. Your screen will look a little different than mine because I'm on a different computer than you, but make sure that you are at 8.5 inches by 11 height and click OK. Your document should look like this. Let's start with the basics. Over here are all your tools. Your toolbar may look more like this. I like my toolbar to look like this. It's all the same tools. Go ahead and grab your rectangle tool and click and drag a rectangle. You can click and drag a rectangle of any size. If you want a perfect square, click, drag, and hold the Shift key and release. Okay, I want to get rid of these, so I'm going to click on one and backspace or delete. If I want to delete both of these, I can click and drag over both, hovering over both. When I release, you'll see they're both selected. I can tell they're selected because there's blue squares around them and tiny white squares on the corners. Now I can click backspace or delete. On your own document, grab the rectangle tool, go from corner to corner. To fill up the entire page, we're going to make a background color. Look right over here. Your square has a white fill, which is the inside, and a black stroke, which is the outside. I want to change the color by going right up here and clicking on the drop-down menu. Choose any color for your background. And we want to choose no stroke. So I'm going to move this over so you can see it. There's no stroke, which means no outline. Alright, you'll see that when I clicked out here, it said, do you want an 8.5 by 11 inch rectangle? If I click OK, it makes another rectangle for me. No, I don't want to do that. Maybe I want to change the size of my rectangle. But what will happen is you'll just keep making more rectangles, and that's because you have the rectangle tool selected. In order to ever change the size of your shapes, you need to have your selection tool selected. Okay, these were mistakes, so I'm going to get rid of them. Let's look at some more shapes. Hold down on your shape tool. We've got rounded rectangle. Go ahead and grab the star tool. Click and drag to make a star. And put it right in the middle. You'll notice it's the same color as your background, which it tells me right here. I can go to this tiny little default, which is white fill, black stroke. I can switch back and forth between black and white by clicking on the little arrow to swap. Or I can go right up here and choose the color that I'd like. Let's go over here and add an ellipse. Ellipse is another word for circle, right on top. Okay, I can squish my ellipse, squash it, squish it. I want it to be a perfect circle, so I'm going to hold Shift, just like we did with the rectangle. So here I go, hold Shift and release. I want to center it right on that star and change the color. Okay, now my circle is covering up my star, and maybe yours is too, so let's arrange it and send it backward. Click on the circle, right-click on your mouse, arrange, send backward. That sent it right behind the star. I'm going to click Edit, Undo, or I can click on Control-Z. There's another way we can do this. I can click on the star, right-click on my mouse, arrange, and bring to front. We can arrange the background if we want to, click on it, right-click, arrange, bring to front. Everything else is still back there, it's just hidden behind this. So I'm going to do arrange and send it to the back again. I'm happy with this. I'd like my star to be a little transparent, so look up here at opacity. This is the transparency panel. When I reduce my opacity from 100, suddenly my star becomes transparent. Go ahead and make your star somewhat transparent now too. And I'm going to take down the size of my circle a little bit so I can really see that transparency. There we go, now I can really see it on the corners there. To zoom in, press Control+. You can zoom way, way, way in. I'm going to zoom in, zoom in, zoom in. If you get lost and you don't know where you are, you can do Control minus, or you can click Control 0 to snap to full screen. So if I go way, way, way out, I can just simply click on Control 0 to snap to full screen. Let's make some text right in the middle of this star. Come on over to your Type tool, it's the capital T, click on it, and click and drag to create a text box for yourself. Your computer may or may not fill it with fake text as mine has. Go ahead and type your name. All right. We can change your name by going to the selection tool. You can select it by highlighting it, or you can select it by clicking on your selection tool and you'll see that my entire text box is selected. Either is fine. At the top of your screen, there will be some options for you, or you can click character, about changing the font, changing regular to bold. Here we go, I'm going to change the font. I can change the size to 72. If you want to be even bigger than 72, try changing it to 100. Oh, check this out. Some of my letters disappeared. There's a little red plus sign right here, which is telling me that I have more text than I have text box to hold it. In other words, my box is smaller than my text. I can just click and drag my text box until there's enough room for everything. Come on up here and change the color of your text. And there are some other things here which we can change about our text, which you can certainly mess around with, like this one. Some of these. Okay, underline, strike through. But you don't have to worry about those just yet. They are definitely more advanced. You can also center justify, right justify, left align, and as usual you can add a stroke. Okay, so there's your text. Right now I want to rotate my text, and you do this, you rotate an object by clicking on the object. Let's click on your star, hover over one of the corners until you get this rounded arrow, and rotate it. Do that now with your star. Okay, let's try it with the text. Click on your text with your selection tool, hover on the corner, or you can grab this and try to turn it. Okay, weird things are happening here. Where did my text box go? I see that red plus sign. Maybe I'll try making the box a little bit bigger. Okay, oh, watch this. The text isn't rotating. It's a little odd what's happening here. So what I'm going to do in order to make it rotate is I'm going to go up to Type, Create Outlines. Here's the quick command if you want to use it. It is Shift-Control-0. Okay, now I have outlines, which means I can stretch it, I can make it bigger, and I can rotate it. Go ahead and rotate your name now. What I can't do when I'm in Create Outlines is go back and change the font. You can't change the font or the font size or any of that anymore, because technically what you've done is you've made these into shapes. It's no longer text, it is now shapes, in the same way that your circle and your square and your star are shapes. You can still change the color though. All right, let's do Command or Control-0 to see the whole thing. Yours should look something like mine. These are basic tools. I'm going to go over here to the side and make another shape. Make sure it has a fill. Any colored fill is fine. Let's try out the eraser tool. Your eraser might look slightly different than mine, but if you hover over it, it'll say eraser. Go ahead and click on it. And erase all the way through an object one side to the other. Okay, you'll see it separated the object. Deselect the object by clicking outside and click on 1/2. You'll see that it now moves all by itself. You can rotate it because it's a totally separate object. You erased it apart from the other object. Try out your line tool. Simply click and drag to make a line segment. Try out your brush tool. We'll need some sort of a color here. Okay, try out your brush tool. Make sure you have a color and paint. Okay. My brush strokes turned out green. Look over here. I have a green stroke and no fill. That's because any sort of brush or pencil or line is a stroke. It's a path. Okay. Now try out pencil tool. Similar to brush, but a little thinner. We don't use pencil and pen very much. We use a lot of pen tool, we don't use pencil or paintbrush very much, which I just showed you, but we do use a lot of pen tool because it's more precise. However, I'm not going to put that in this tutorial video. You can hold down on any of these tools, which have a little white arrow at the bottom of them, just to see what's down there. Try out spiral. It's kind of fun. We don't use it a lot, but it's there. Okay, and in order for you to keep trying out some of these tools that I've showed you, what I want you to do is take this and make it into a poster for me. I want you to include this information. Give me your name. Give me 5 shapes. They can be the same shape like the circles I've done here, different shapes. Show me you know how to use shapes. Make them different colors. Give me a color background by using the rectangle tool in the background. And I want you to tell me 5 interesting things about you. For example, you can tell me what brought you to Inderkum, what's your hobby, what do you want to be when you grow up, do you have pets, or anything else you can think of that you think that I might want to know about you. I'd love to get to know you. You're new to this class. So play around with all these tools, play around with the colors. Definitely play around with text and change your fonts. And I'm going to show you how to turn this into me for credit when you're done. All right, happy illustrating.